All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Christmas edition of the live show, which now has a name, Signal to Noise. So I actually came up with a big old name for it. We're ready to go. So this is going to be a quick one. I'm actually about to head out of town and wanted to do one more live for you guys, going over something I think is extremely important, which is the best business models for 2026. The year's coming to a close. Did you hit your goals? Did you do everything you wanted to do? Let me tell you something I learned a long time ago. If you start with the wrong business model right there from the beginning, you're kind of screwed from the start. All right. And I've said this before. If you look at all of the business I had that was successful, like BuildBox, all right, that's a great example. BuildBox, still the #1 game builder in the world. I don't own the company anymore. I sold it in 2019. But if you try to go build that today, you're screwed. Yeah, timing is everything in the market. Technology changes and you have to focus on that. And AI has changed the game completely. So get this, 50% of new articles are now AI, 50%. 74% of the new web pages contain AI stuff in it. It's somehow, some point, AI is being, and you know what's going to happen. If it's not happened already, it's going to be a lot more than that, right? It's going to be 100%. There was more content created in 2024 than the entire human history before. And we will see, I'm sure, in 2026, more content created than in 2024, right? So what still works? What works right now? What can you do to build a new business that can go crush it? Or if you're in a business now, what can you do to add on to it? So I've broken this down into a few different parts. And the first part is information products. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm shocked this still works in an AI world. But let me tell you why it does. And it took me a while to figure this out. People don't buy content anymore when they're buying information from you. They're buying secrets. All right, what they want is knowledge, expertise, and the truth is they want shortcuts. AI just ain't quite there yet. Because what AI can do is take everything that's out there and it can see what's on Google and it can say, okay, cool. I know all this stuff that's out there, but that's not going to be the secrets that you use to build your business, the secrets that you use to get over depression, the secrets that you use to overcome addiction, all the stuff you've done in your life is not probably broadcasted. You figured out some stuff with human ingenuity on your own. That's what's still valuable. So let's break down the different types of products you can sell in the information product category. So first off, we have books. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you this. I thought this was going to be screwed. If you don't know, I own a company, Bookle AI. It's one of the companies I own, and that creates books with AI. And I thought that, honestly, that would be kind of screwed. And it is to an extent. All right, let me tell you what works and what doesn't. The Kindle store is pretty much AI slop now, okay? So that's pretty much dead. I would not upload a book to Kindle unless you have a following. We're going to talk about how the real thing you want to focus on in 2026 while we still have the opportunity is building a following. But books on the Kindle store are not going to be where it's at. That's not going to make you a bunch of money unless people are waiting on the book. Now, books as lead gen offers. Now that is still interesting, okay? Books as lead gen, not entertainment, but like transformation. That's still interesting. And that's something that still can sell. And I got to be honest with you, I'm totally shocked that still works today. And I think right now, if you went and wrote a great book, you can use AI to help you, and you used it as a lead gen, you sold that book for $5 on Facebook ads, and you had to upsell to something else, I think you would make money with it. That was my biggest hack of 2024. And honestly, if I didn't shift over into the high ticket sales stuff, I'd still be doing it now. Hell, now that I'm saying it, I'll probably even test it for high ticket sales. It just plain works. If you have something cool that no one else has, something they can't go find in Barnes & Noble, right? That's where the secret part comes in. All right, now you would think if books are still a viable thing, then courses would be. But I got to be honest with you. You notice you haven't seen a lot of people promoting courses anymore on ads, on Facebook, on YouTube. It's not dead, but it's struggling. There's a few reasons why. So first off, YouTube, no one's really talking about this. It is insane how much it has grown in the past year. So now there's 500 plus hours uploaded to YouTube every minute. 35% of the new successful channels are faceless. What does that mean? All right. Obviously, that's AI stuff. 4 of the 10 most subscribed channels in 2025 are pure AI content, including one of them, Masters of Prophecy, grew to 31 million subs in a year. All right? And then on top of that, everyone's attention span is shit right now because they're doom scrolling up until 5 a.m. in the morning in their bed. Okay? So secrets can still sell, but long form secrets kind of suck. All right, courses aren't completely dead. And I'll give you a great example. If you don't know Maria Wendt, and that's spelled W-E-N-D-T, maybe you've seen her. She's kind of been popping off. And let me tell you, she's doing super interesting stuff. Short form courses is what she's focused on. And it's been very, very cool to see her grow this. And she talks about her revenue and stuff. Strongly recommend following her on Instagram. But she has a bunch of really small courses that solve really micro problems. And then she makes content around these micro problems and then sells the courses around it. It's almost like if you could think about like Reels and TikToks if it was a course. And I think that's super, super interesting. Okay, so I think that's worth doing. But I will say this, in general, courses have gotten kind of crushed by the amount of video content. And the problem is it's long form. Courses are the longest form content out there. And we live in an ADHD society right now that is focused on short form content. All right, then the other part of, and I think this is the last one really, of information is coaching and consulting, right? So you guys have seen me doing this a lot. I think this is the real play right now, and I'm doing it for a reason, right? With 2 successful software companies, and I'm still doing it. And I'll tell you why. Reason number 1 is evergreen demand. Business owners always are going to have problems. Business owners are always going to have hot months. They're going to have cold months. They're going to have just rinse and repeat that, right? If you've been in business, you've had months where you just absolutely crush it and then everything comes crumbling down. That's going to continue happening forever. And it's an opportunity for you to go help those people to solve that chaos. If you can solve chaos for other people, that's a steady income because everyone's going to always have chaos. As crazy as all this AI stuff gets, it's only going to produce more and more chaos for businesses. It only gives you more and more opportunity as a coach or a consultant to go in and help out. Now, the reason number 2, this is still my favorite business model in the world. It's the leanest business model ever made. All right, so get this. I'll go ahead and tell you guys. So last week I made $111,000. All right, that's how much I closed last week. All right, that's in it's Sunday now. That's starting Monday. All right, high ticket is fewer clients needed, and guess what? My payroll is for this company $1,800 a month, and we're going to beat the software company this month. All right, which has an insane payroll. $1,800, right, is all I spend because it's just. It's you. It's just you selling stuff. And then you can pay people on commission. And then, the other thing is with coaching, why it works. This is a big disbelief a lot of people have about coaching and consulting and why they don't get into it. They're like, well, can I really help people? Let me tell you the thing. The big reason it works being a coach or consultant is the bird's eye view. It's easier to see other people's blind spots even if you can't see them in your own business, all right? You ever met a psychiatrist? I know a couple. They're fucking nuts, okay? All right? They're real good at diagnosing other people. Everyone's bad at diagnosing themselves. So you can get people better results than they would get alone, and probably even that you would do yourself. There's something about this, zooming out, looking down, and it's just like, man, I think I can help this person, and you see it. Dude, a lot of times, I'll tell you what I'll do, especially with my high-end clients that are like 50,000 plus, I'll sit there and I'll be helping them out, and I'm like, why am I not doing this? And then I'll go do it, And so it's a lot easier to examine someone else's problems. And I'll tell you why. It's because of when we get into a situation, we panic, we hit some panic mode, all right? I'm not talking about fight or flight. I'm just talking about stress, man. You ever woken up in the middle of the night worried about freaking money? And you're just like, oh my God, can I make payroll, all this kind of stuff. Well, when you're a coach for someone, or if you have a coach, then that person's not doing that. They're just looking at the facts and they're going, oh, okay, cool, man, if Trey just did this, things sure would be a lot simpler. And so that is valuable. Your calmness in that case is valuable. So anyways, out of all the information stuff, books and doing courses and coaching, I think coaching is the best. I think courses you got to kind of watch out for because everyone's getting fed so much video information. It used to be almost unique, man. Like 10 years ago, it was unique to have a course. It was unique to get some video. Oh, cool, long form content, that's about me. Now it's kind of overwhelming. So yeah, my thoughts there. Now, part two, talking about business models. The first one was all about information products. Part two is software products and SaaS. All right, so this still works, but I'm going to go ahead. Look, I own multiple software companies. I've started like 5 or something, sold 2 of them. So let me tell you the trick to software companies. No one's going to really tell you this. Everybody lies about this. All right, this is the secret that everyone lies about. It is churn. Churn is such a bitch on a software company. And the best way to explain it to you, if you've never owned a SaaS, and that's when you charge monthly for your software, is this. Imagine you got a bucket, all right? That bucket's got a hole in it, all right? Now, you're feeding it in there. You're pouring that water, but it's always dripping out that other end, okay? Now, however big your churn is how big that hole is. Okay. And you'll be shocked. It is not hard to build a business you think is successful, you think is good. And then after you run the numbers, you found out you've lost 80% of the damn people in 10 months. That can absolutely happen, especially in the marketing world. All right. Now it's going to get worse. Churn's already tough. And everyone lies about this. I'm telling you, no one is honest about their churn. But it's about to get worse, and I'll tell you why. Because AI slop SaaS. Yes, AI slop companies is something I've been talking about a good bit on these lives. And the AI slop SaaS era is upon us because of vibe coding. All right, Lovable, fastest growing company in the history of mankind. 100 million ARR in 8 months. Insane. All right. Now, that was the fastest growing one ever. Now, we're going to talk about this in a second. But everyone who built a SaaS similar up funneled to Lovable, okay? Or Replit if you're more nerdy, all right? The combined value of all these vibe coding valuations was $7 billion last year, all right? 2024 was $7 billion, $36 billion this year. So this is just boom. Now, all of these valuations increasing, all of this revenue, what do you think is happening? That's how many software products right now are in the market being built that you don't know about, that they're just kind of tweaking and finishing. Anyone can prompt a competitor into existence. So competition, and I mean this number I'm about to say, competition is about to 1,000x in the next 5 years with SaaS companies as Claude Code and all the stuff gets a little bit better. So any idea that you have right now, just imagine I go look at it and I go, that's cool. Boom, I got the same exact thing, right? So that's going to be tough. It's going to only get harder. Now, here's how SaaS can still win. This is not all doom and gloom, but I'm going to give it to you real. You have to have a unique hook. You have to have a unique angle, and you have to solve a real problem. Now, you're going to get ripped off, so you have to also have an audience. So I'm going to give you an example of a SaaS I'm building. I'm going to tell you now. I got so many irons in the fire. If you go rip me off, I really don't care. I got too much going on anyway. Barely have time to do this. So I just bought superkitty.ai. And what this is going to do is you post a couple pictures of yourself, some information, blah, 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 and it builds out a complete social media scheduling. It makes videos, it makes images, it makes your posts. It does everything beginning to end, and it's all ready and scheduled for you. Like literally, it's just like, what do you want to focus on this week? And you write in there, and boom, it all just happens, and it's there, and then you can approve or disapprove. I see this as a huge need. Yes, it is very AI slop based. It's got to start somewhere. It will get better. I think within 6 months, you're going to have AI video that's indistinguishable of what I'm doing now. I don't know where that's going to go, but I want to be ahead of it. So that's the next software company I'm going to build. Now, here's the thing, all right? You can go rip this off, right? Better get started because we're already doing it. But I'll say this. There's a couple things where I might have you, all right? First off, branding and stuff. Super Kitty, people going to remember that shit. All right. If you call yours Social Poster 2000, they're not. So I'm pretty good with the branding stuff. Also, an audience, right? Not hugely famous or anything, but I do have an audience. I can get the first 1,000 people pretty easy. Not too much sweating that. We're going to talk about why audiences are the thing you should focus on, regardless of the business model you want. But, yes, someone could absolutely one-shot that thing in 2 years. Right now, and when I say one-shot, that means you do one prompt, boom, hit a button. I think in 2 years, 2.5 years, someone will be able to one-shot it. Right now, though, it's going to take some work. So having a novel idea that solves a real problem, people hate posting on social media. Everyone knows you have to post a crap ton in order to get any views. And, knowing branding and that kind of stuff, you can do that and make it still work. I'm not saying SaaS can't work. I'm just saying competition is about to get fiercer than you've ever thought humanly possible. And remember this about SaaS. There's only one winner per category. All right, this was a huge one I learned in my BuildBox days. We were that winner. All right, so let me give you an example. You probably know HeyGen. Do you know DID? Do you remember them? They were actually the first ones to do it. Either them or Synthesia, all right? So there's a lot of competitors. But all of those competitors ended up funneling ultimately their traffic into HeyGen. Here's what I mean. Let's say that DID went and spent $40 million on ads. Let's say Synthesia went and spent $22 million on ads. Then what they did is introduced everyone to this new world of cool AI video that actually looks like you and works. So when someone's open up to that new world, what are they going to do? They're going to go, okay, great. What other products are out there? Then they're going to find the leader, and then they're going to leave them and go to the leader. So what happened is DID just spent a bunch of money, $50 to acquire a user, lost the user went to HeyGen, HeyGen spent $0 on it. Everything always funnels to the leader. That's how software works, all right? Just like Lovable. There was a million different ripoffs of it. All right, we tried it as well. And then you can't compete with the behemoth because everyone's losing the revenue and the users straight to them makes them more powerful. This is how it's always been, okay? So SaaS, yes, it is absolutely cool that you can build a SaaS on your own. It's absolutely possible to do it. You have to have a very unique hook and angle. You have to have really good branding, and you have to be good at getting users, and you have to be a little bit ahead of the curve. So when people start trying to rip you off, they're going to be catching up with you. It's exactly what Lovable did. Remember, Lovable actually first was called GPT Engineer, and I've told this story before. I saw it on Reddit on r/Singularity or OpenAI, one of these subreddits that was about AI. And I saw the founder talk about GPT Engineer, and I sent it to my co-founder, Nick, at the time. And he was like, huh, that's cool. That ended up being Lovable. And that was a year and a half before they actually launched, okay? So that head start can absolutely help. It's going to be essential now. Don't know where that will be in 5 years, but in 5 years, if you have 1 million people using your software, then who gives a shit? Okay, all right, so then the final one is physical products. So we've already talked about information products. We've broken down doing software. Now let's talk about physical products. I think you got to be super, super careful here. I'm going to tell you, though, how you can make 10 grand a month in 2026, nearly guaranteed if you know how to sell a little bit. I mean, college degrees are just becoming more and more worthless. But if you know how to sell a little bit and you're not scared to get behind the camera and then talk all day. So again, if you can sell a little bit and you can get behind the camera, you can make $10,000 a month doing what I'm about to tell you, all right? But physical products are dead for small businesses because China manufacturing, the boom, just killed it. Anything that you make will be ripped off in seconds and sold for 1/10 of the price, and you'll never be able to compete, all right? TikTok shop sellers are gonna undercut you overnight. They're gonna find a competitor on AliExpress instead, and that's it. So, I like to use the analogy of pet rocks, because that was the $1 million damn American dream, baby. You know, back in 78, 79, someone was like, hey, I'm going to sell a damn rock. The next one was maybe chia pets. All that's gone, all right? Coming up with just kind of novel idea, because you're going to come up with a fidget spinner, and there's going to be 1 billion fidget spinners made of titanium glass from Mars, and you're not going to be able to compete because they're $2, and you're like, how the hell is this happening? It's because China won manufacturing, okay? But now, so making your own physical products, pretty tough sell. But reselling, I think that's actually pretty smart. And so let me tell you why. There's only some types of reselling I think is smart. So social selling is huge, bigger than I thought it was. I did not call this one. A lot of times I call stuff. This is one I did not call at all, all right? So TikTok Shop, we know that's huge. If you don't know, the big competitor to TikTok Shop is Whatnot, all right? So get this, all right? They have 175,000 hours of live streams, all right? And they doubled their revenue to $6 billion this year from $3 billion last year. But here's the crazy crap about Whatnot, the app. And if you don't know, this is a seller app, okay? So people log into this app and they just watch all day like QVC, people sitting there selling on their phones. 2/3 of all sellers on Whatnot make $10,000 a month. 2/3 are earning $10,000 a month. The average user spends 80 minutes a day in the app. That is nuts. That's the type of engagement we haven't seen really since social media probably popped off. Maybe ChatGPT is rivaling that, but that is insane. Right now, I'm sure the $10,000 a month is gross. I'm assuming that can't be profit. That has to be gross, but still big ass numbers, lots of money, wallets being pulled out, credit cards being swiped on what's not a lot. So drop shipping, meh. Amazon reselling, kind of over. Affiliate marketing, nah, I don't really think so. So the real two things I think that'll work for 2026, if you're starting something new, you got two choices. First, if you want to do small cash, social selling. Absolutely. If you want to make an extra, 4 or 5 grand a month, 10 grand, if you're really good at the marketing side of it, social selling. Big cash, high ticket sales. And I think that's really it. Now, the good news is both require no upfront expenses. Neither of these require anything. Yes, with the TikTok shop or what's not, you're going to have to order, something. You're probably already buying crap, right? You just show the stuff that you bought off of TikTok or Amazon or whatever. All that stuff's available. You do need the ability to sell, but there's no expenses. And you do need to have the ability to market and position yourself for both of these, right? Both of these. If you're selling high ticket coaching for $50,000, or if you're selling a light that attaches to the back of your iPhone for $5, it's kind of the same skill set. Right? You have to be able to know how to position yourself as an expert. No one's going to buy that light if they think you're a dumbass. Then you have to have the ability to sell the thing and then market it so people see it. All right. Now, obviously, I personally think the coaching angle is better. But again, I did 100 grand last week doing that. So I think that's working 20 hours. I think it's a better thing. I'm a little bit biased. But regardless, I think those are the two business models that are probably the best to focus on. Now, if you're interested in the high ticket stuff, then check out my website, treysmith.org. I just uploaded new training on there yesterday. So some new stuff. Even if you've seen my old stuff before, you'll see some new stuff there. Maybe I'm split testing it, and we'll see which one does the best. But all right, guys, that's my Christmas special. A little bit early as I'm headed out of town. If you enjoy this, make sure to like and subscribe and follow me so you can see more breakdowns like this. Got a lot of stuff planned for when I get back in a week. Trey Smith, I appreciate you guys, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.